So, mastering strips. Now, a brilliant trick that I picked up a while back is quite often, you'll hear a record and you'll think, oh, I love the way that the percussion sounds on that, or I love the way the drums sound on that, or something like this. And you kind of want to get that kind of vibe into your track, but you don't want to sample their drums and you don't want to sample their synths or whatever. Logic have got a brilliant EQ on here called the Match EQ, which is this one here. It doesn't look particularly brilliant. It looks a bit like the normal EQ, to be honest. I'll just zoom in for you there. But what this actually do is this will listen to a piece of audio and kind of create an EQ profile for the piece of audio that you're putting in, like a template. So say, this is quite a deep sounding thing. So I'm just going to go into my iTunes library here and find someone who's kind of deep house. Let's say Dennis Ferrer or someone like that. So say I want this to have the kind of characteristics of Dennis's Sunburst Band remix, which is a brilliant track. You can hear the sort of the sound that this has got. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to import that into Logic, just drag it straight from iTunes. Then if I solo this track, turn the Match EQ on and put it onto learning mode. Let's just turn the volume up a little bit, it'll probably help. So if I just click the learn button, you can see it starts to analyse where all the frequencies are in the track. And then you just hit the match button, and here is the profile that it's created. So I'm going to delete Dennis now. And just go back to my master strip. Now you've got like the amount of application here. I'm going to set that to the center, to 0. And there's my raw material. And then as I turn this up, it kind of applies the template. So you can sort of get a little bit of his EQ sound into the mix and kind of liven things up a little bit. Obviously that one, the sounds are probably reasonably similar, but I mean if you were to put something like if I were to get, say, like, I don't know, just a raw kind of ES1 and kind of learn that, you can see it's kind of all based around the centre there. That's quite a different story. And then you could apply that, so I'll make my whole track sound like it's an ES1. And it sounds horrible. But you can see it's a really good way of capturing someone else's sound and the essence. If you really like the way someone's got a really nice top end fizz on their sound or whatever, you can be really cool with it. I think I've got a couple in here already. I've got one off an Adam K record, which was a really nice kind of mastering setting. And again, you can hear it was his top end I was going for on this one. So you can just apply that. And it's just that little bit of sheen that you kind of get off someone else's EQ. So that's pretty cool. Right, some of my favourite mastering strips. Let's have a look what we've got here. Okay, I've got loads, absolutely loads. One of the most basic ones that I started off using and still really, really works is just the Logic multipressor here and Logic's ad limiter here. Now I leave the add limiter exactly as it is, because that's kind of like a really kind of raw setting. And then there is a preset on here called linear soft. So I just throw that in there. And this is just a really basic kind of slam. And the best way to see, you know, kind of what these do is to sort of quickly sort of do a little render. So if I just do an offline bounce of these, so you can see them as they come out. We just hit the bounce button there. This is basic master 1. So we're just going to run that through. And then if I open that back up for you, I'll just open it in Peak. And you'll see kind of how much it sort of pushes things. This is what I used on all the old stuff, like things like the remix I did for Book of Shade and all the stuff that I did with the Trophy Twins and stuff. This was all the basic. This is all the basic mastership. So you see, it pumps everything kind of out. Doesn't block everything quite like some others do, but it's a really nice, clean, master. Then next one I've got, which is a sort of a newer one that I've developed when I got my UADs, is this one, which is gainer at the start, channel EQ, so you can add any final tweaks to it. Again, multi-presser, just set on one of the default settings, and then the UAD precision, which is their kind of like top end sort of limiter thing. This provides much more of a slam, and the great thing about this limiter is you can really drive it quite hard, and it'll push to a really sort of flat, a flat peak. So that's kind of another one I've got there, and then I sort of tweaked that one as well and moved that into same arrangement, but then I'm using the LA2A as the limiter on this one, and this drives things so loud. If I show you the peak that you get on this one, we'll call this UAD Master 2, and just do a quick offline bounce of this as well. This plugin's become one of my favourites over time. Like when I very first got it, I was a little bit kind of like, oh, there's not many knobs on it, it doesn't look very good. But in fact, it's probably one of the best ones that I own. It does the job, and it does it so well and so viciously. I can't really fault it. You can see that exactly the same thing, but massive difference. It's brought all of the bottom end right to the fore of the mix. You know, really kind of levels it all up. You can get masses of volume out of it. I mean, it's huge. Then we've also got this one, which I've recently created. One of the brilliant things you can do is quite often, because people love the UADs, but a lot of people can't afford to have the card. So a lot of other plugin companies have kind of, I'm not saying that they've copied anything off UAD or anything like that, but certain companies, not mentioning any names, but I'm sure you'll recognise the plugin, have kind of made sort of replicas of classic software within their thing. So this, I'm not saying it looks like a Fairchild, I'm just saying it looks like a Fairchild. And there's some brilliant presets on here for mastering, and because the controls are exactly the same as the Fairchild, but iCame Multimedia and know way more about mastering than I do, you can actually open up your UAD and just copy the controls. There's your lateral left and right constant, just like there are here. Your threshold there, and I've got them all set to exactly the same settings as this, but obviously I've got the UAD sound. So it's a little bit of a blag, but it does mean that you can get a really good master. You know, if you're not too sure of how to use something like this, and I'm not, you know, you can. The professionals have put together the presets on the other piece of software, so you can sort of kind of pinch their sort of presets as a starting point and then work from there. And this one I've also used the Isotope Ozone. I think I'm on version 4 now. I think I bought the upgrade the other day. Just on the CD mastering setting, so that's for my compression, and I've just used this to kind of give it the vintage sound, and then this on the end to give us the limiting. And again, this is a really, this one works really well with kind of electronic, more electronic-y sort of electro sort of stuff, because it's a really clean wave. And again, I'll just do a bounce for you so you can have a look. I'm going to call this the Blagged Fairchild master. There we go. But the sound that this gives you is so good. I mean, I think I'm going to have to get one at some point, an original one, if I can find one. Because they're pretty, you know, if the software's anything to go by, then the original's going to be amazing. So just boot up peak again. Now, that doesn't seem so loud, but obviously it just needs normalising because I've turned the volume down. So again, you can see the difference. Rather than the first one was really clean, the second one forced everything really big. This one kind of groups everything. It doesn't quite peak at the top because it's a sort of an analog emulation, so it's a little bit sort of more, sort of random, but you'll hear the sound is a really nice squeeze. You know, it gives you a really good... It's sort of if I was doing either kind of like electro or justicey sort of stuff, or, you know, that whole head banger kind of vibe, I'd probably use a mastering thing like this because it gives you that real kind of analog sort of sound. And that's pretty much it, really. I mean, you know, I'm not one for masses of tricks and masses of technology, to be honest. I kind of let the music, sort of speak for itself, really. But hopefully, there's some stuff that you can take away.